Okay. With that, I believe next is our commissioners' comments. Anyone? No. Commissioner Lanky?
I just have one quick one. We heard a lot of concerns from Terramar area residents about some specific streets and intersections in that area. I don't know. I would request that maybe that be added to our traffic engineer report. Is that something that will be looked into?
Yes, that'll definitely be coming back to the Traffic Mobility Commission in one form or another. A lot of those emails were previously received by staff, and we've been taking action on those, and they include an analysis for always stops on Cerrizo at both El Arbol and Los Robles. So those items will be brought back to the Traffic and Mobility Commission for your input.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? I have some comments before. Commissioner Pensier.
I just have to say that I received an email and then a request for a phone call from former Commissioner Johnny Johnson. So in the interest of being transparent, I want to say that I did have a long conversation with her about the Terramar area, and basically just asked her, well, what do you want? And once you figure it out, just send a bunch of letters to us. And so I guess I'm partially to blame for 15 minutes worth of letters that we had to read.
Commissioner Lanky.
Then I should also disclose that I received a call too. And I said that you should work through Mr. Kim, and if and I said if you are not satisfied with the response, then you should have people write letters. So I am probably also responsible, but I think they were great letters expressing very good concerns. So I said, if any way we can elevate your concern to get addressed is the best way to do it. So I'll disclose that as well.
Commissioner Hunter.
And I'll disclose that Terramar reached out to me also. So I contacted them and said, hey, I'm happy to talk, but I haven't had any discussions with them. So it's there, but I have taken my patrol car down there on multiple occasions to look at the issues. So.
Did she miss any of us?
I doubt it.
Oh, thanks for sharing. I think, in regards to the citizens, I think there's a term, was a Latin term, vox populi vox, the voice of the people. So I appreciate, the information that you presented. So thanks. Okay, I just have a couple of things I just wanted to comment on. I think the first one is, as we're ending the school season, or school is ending, I think this week or next week for Carlsbad School District. I just wanted to give kind of a feedback on the school drop-off scheduling. So I think during this COVID outbreak, and we had the modified schedules and whatever we had for our school district, once we started to do in-person teaching again, I noticed that the school started to do a staggered drop-off. So if the school were to, the final bell was at 8:30, before everyone would rush and, the final 10 minutes and try and drop off their kids. But now, I think from the start of 8 a.m., the school staff will actually open up the gates, let the kids in. So there's this staggered wave that can come in from 8 to 8:15, 8:15 to 8:30. And one thing that I've noticed that some of the parents have noticed is that, like, for instance, Hope, the traffic has been reduced like tremendously. So I'm wondering if there's any way we could talk to or convey the message to, say, the superintendent Churchill, in regards to maybe for next year. I know that fall season is going to come back up, and I think it's going to be full in person. So, I know this was a big hot issue about traffic at Valley or at Aviara, but I really do feel that this school drop-off staggered was a really positive thing that came about reducing traffic. So, but again, I don't know how many kids are going to be coming back into full, I don't know how many are doing online. So but it's just an observation. So I think that might be a good thing. Okay, and then the other comment that I have, there's just two more that I have. The traffic monitoring for the current construction, that's SIP 6042 and 6071. That's the El Camino Real and Cannon. I think Mr. Frank was talking about that, the bridge extension and the college. Are we monitoring the traffic now, right now, like what we're seeing? Because there's, if you're going northbound on El Camino Real, you now, once you pass the golf course, you're losing that lane because of the construction. But I mean, I'm sorry to say, but that traffic is like going all the way back to like, I think almost up to Faraday. So there's a lot of people starting to, you know, use alternate routes and coming through. So I just wanted to see if from a research standpoint, if we've noticed, you know, if traffic is starting to increase even more. I know construction will be finished, but I just thought it's more of a research project or a monitoring. So
I don't believe we're monitoring traffic volumes right now out on that corridor. But I can tell you, yeah, the traffic is returned. It's at 95% pre-COVID, and that's coming from Caltrans for their data, and they collect it daily. So
yeah, I mean, it's really like before, you know, before you got to the Sunny Hills, College, you know, that's when traffic would normally, but now it's starting to like back up even further to like maybe Cougar, or I think it's Cougar or Palmer Way, whatever it is up there. But then also too, southbound on ECR, when you make that right to go onto El Camino Real, that 3-lane turns into a 2. So now you're starting to get another traffic congestion up there. I know we can't do anything about it. It's just more of just observe if like our monitoring is, you know, if we're seeing a flux of congestion. So.
So yeah, we are seeing congestion, and the other point you highlighted is people do change their driving patterns depending on congestion. So
yeah, and from what I've seen, people are starting to take Faraday, or they're cutting through. I can't remember the road to go up to the golf course crossings. Anyways, what they do is they cut. Yeah, I think it's, but they cut. No, it's before that's where. It's where Legoland and the golf course is. I think it's Hidden Valley. I forgot what it's called, but what they're doing is they're cutting through into that little drive-through way through the resorts. Nice. And so that area is kind of to get to Cannon Road. So what I'm just saying is just that, yeah, there's a behavioral change now on how people are moving around. So it's just a observation. And then two more things, and I'll make this really quick. You know, in the last discussions that we talked about with Terramar and parking, I know this is one of our areas that we cover, or it's one of our scopes. But I was wondering, is there a possibility that we could get a informational presentation about our parking process, specifically with our Carlsbad Municipal Code? Like, for instance, Chapter 10.4, stopping, standing, and parking. Chapter 10.33, oversized vehicle load permits. And what I mean by that is, I think there's a lot of community members trying to understand, like, what is going on with parking. Like, how do we adjust the parking so that there's not overnight parking, or if there's these big trucks that are just coming in and parking, you know, it's either 22 feet or you have 72 hours of permitted parking overnight or something like that. Or do truckers that have these full beds parking in the city, do they have to pay a permit for this? You know, I guess there's just a lot of questions about how this parking is set up. And also too, like, if there is a no parking and there's a development, are people allowed to park on there because the road is not checked off by the city, I guess? So there's a lot of questions that I get from the community that are asking these questions, and I'm really not sure on how this process works. So I guess for me, it would be an ask of the staff if we could get a kind of an understanding of how the parking process is done, you know, for the city of Carlsbad. Hopefully that makes sense.
I could try. I don't think there's a process necessarily. The ordinance is comprised of things that were enacted to address certain parking problems. Outside of the ordinances, you can park wherever you want, and then people have decided, city leadership has decided, well, we wanted to restrict this and that, and so ordinances were formed. Unless you have a specific question, maybe it's best to break it out into subgroups. And would it help to maybe discuss offline with you,
Yeah, I think so.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Perez, and then develop maybe some sort of work plan from there?
yeah, I think so, because there's a lot of moving pieces out there. So
Yeah.
it's probably better if I just go offline and work with you, Mr. Kim. So yeah, okay. And then the last one I have, this is just a request or to look into, is on Tamarack, westbound between Carlsbad Village Drive and ECR. I think during that time a lane was repaved, so and if you're going westbound, but in the bike lane between the between the curb and the outermost bike lane line, a lot of bicyclists have noticed that the repaving is bumpy. So it's almost like when you are on the freeway and you kind of go off a lane that has that like vibration notification to let you know. So a lot of bikers, and this is a pretty steep decline, they'll be going 30 speed limit. They'll be going down and they'll start feeling on their wheel this immense vibration. So that's just some of what the cyclist clubs are mentioning. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
We can definitely look into that. I just want to verify the location. Tamarack Avenue westbound, east of El Camino Real. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, east of El Camino Real, in between El Camino Real and Carlsbad Village Drive. The crossroad would be Pontiac on my notes, as it says. And just right in that area, there's been a new repavement. So
has caused the bike lane to be
rough, or it's just very choppy. So when you go on your wheel, you can just really feel that vibration. And so it makes the bicyclists kind of veer out of the bike lane and onto the lane 2 or whatever you want to call it, lane 1.
Okay, I'll put that on our list.
I appreciate it. Yeah, and that's it for me. Commissioners, any other comments or anything? Okay. Oh, Commissioner Pensier.
Yeah, it involves Tamarack on that downhill. That bike lane is very narrow, and in a lot of cases, the slopes that go into the drains are basically make it even shorter, smaller, wide, narrower. Most cyclists will exit the bike lane and just use the number 2 travel lane there. And I wonder if maybe the easiest way to fix that is just to put sharrows in that number 2 lane for the downhill. I mean, we had a lieutenant talked about a crash that took place for a cyclist that lost control on a steep downhill last month and then slid under a car. And again, it was on a road that had a bike lane on a steep downhill. And a lot of people don't know that if you're going to go 30 or 35 miles an hour, you really can't be that close to the edge of the road. And you've got to be out further. And when you have a very narrow bike lane, it's just doesn't, it's not the safest thing to have. So you need a climbing lane when you're going up.
Commissioner Pensiers, Commissioner Pensiers, what direction are you talking about on Tamarack? Are you talking about heading eastbound towards El Camino Real, where you're going down that steep decline?
Actually, both ways. It's downhill to both eastbound and westbound towards El Camino Real. Both of those streets have bike lane. Both sides have bike lanes, and I know when I ride them, I simply move out into the travel lane because I can go the speed limit there. I wouldn't ever want to be stuck in that bike lane, and particularly if it's not smooth.
Yeah, so what I can share is that we did get budget to further refine our SMP prioritization. So that is one of the corridors we're going to be looking at. That is one of
Okay.
the low hanging fruit. I think it's a good east-west corridor to look at.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other comments or? I see pauses.
I just wanted to remind everybody that the first Monday of next month is a holiday. So the next meeting for this commission will be on July 6th, which is a Tuesday.
Oh, okay. So July 6th. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Appreciate that, pause. Okay.
And please let us know if you're not going to be able to make the meeting as soon as you can.
Okay. Great. Okay. If no other commissioners have any comments, we'll move forward to adjourn this meeting. So the next Traffic and Mobility Commission meeting will be on the 7th. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at Jim. Sorry, 7th. No, 6th, right, of July. Yeah. And I will adjourn this meeting at 6:59 p.m. And thank you everyone for all of your time and all of the presentations. And look forward to seeing you next month. And have a happy 4th of July and happy holidays. Yeah.
Happy 4th.